Hello everybody, I'm Eternal Reading. We're back again here for Poetry Thursday. This is the third one I think now, so time flies, as I say. I'll probably say that every episode. But this week I wanted, instead of actually showing a poem or reading a poem for anybody or trying to show a bit of an author, like a poet, I thought this week, I remember reading this passage not that long ago in this book called Here I Stand, an anthology of opinions and moral dilemmas, which is a very good book, by the way. But maybe if anybody's interested, I'll go into more details in that in another video. Leave me a comment, and if you want to see more about this book, let me know. It's not going anywhere, we'll say that. But the part I want to read out today is just titled Poetry, and it was written by Dylan Thomas, who was a great, I think, a Welsh poet. I don't think he was English. I could be wrong. I think he was Welsh, but you know, if I'm wrong, let me know. But he wrote this here on a notes on the art of poetry, which might actually be a book worth worth reading. I might actually write that down and look into that, because reading this wee passage here, I understood exactly what he means. That's what I feel about poetry, and I feel like, yeah, I get it. This is what it is for me too. It's what he's saying here. So we'll go read through it, and then you can tell me your thoughts. Read the poems you like reading. Don't bother whether they're important or if they'll live. What does it matter what poetry is, after all? If you want a definition of poetry, say, poetry is what makes me laugh, or cry, or yawn, what makes my toenails twinkle, what makes me want to do this or that or nothing. I'll let it go at that. All that matters about poetry is the enjoyment of it, however tragic it may be. All that matters is the eternal movement behind it, the vast undercurrent of human grief, folly, pretension, exultation, or ignorance, however unlofty the intention of the poem. You can tear a poem apart to see what makes it technically tick, and say to yourself, when the works are laid out before you, the files, the consonants, the rhymes, the rhythms, yes, this is it. This is why the poem moves me so. It is because of the craftsmanship. But you're back again where you began. You're back with the mystery of having been moved by words. The best craftsmanship always leaves holes and gaps in the works of the poem, so that something that is not in the poem can creep, crawl, dash, and thunder in. The joy and function of poetry is and was the celebration of man, which is also the celebration of God. Dylan Thomas, Notes on the Art of Poetry. I'll have to get that up, or I'll have to look that up. Maybe I had to buy that actually, but you can take or leave that last wee bit. You know, if you're not a religious guy, that's up to you. I like it. I'm a Christian, but I like the way he ended it. But some people might not. That's not the main part, or that's not the main reason of the message, I think, for this. Maybe for some it is, but I think whenever, you know, this first half there, he's talking about, you know, everybody trying to think about poetry and breaking it down. Is it all this, that, then the other, and all, and why we like it, and we'll tear it apart and we'll find out if it rhymes and rhythms and all. But that's not what it's about. Poetry's never been about that, because you're back to where you began. You're back with the mystery of having been moved by words. The best craftsmanship always leaves holes and gaps in the works of the poem, so that something that is not in the poem can creep, crawl, dash, or thunder in. That is the the main thing about poetry. If you take that last bit, that's what I get. You know, you could read, everybody can read it and get a different thing out of it. It's when a poem moves you, it's not necessarily what's in the actual poem for word by word. It's what it makes you feel like after it, and the things that are saying to you as an individual. That is what makes poetry. And see, once you find that in a poem, that's when the floodgates open, and it makes you more interested to try and read more. There's a lot of people. I was one of them. I've read books for a good 15 years. Wouldn't have went near poetry. Thought, no, it's not for me. That's silly. That's boring. You know what I mean? But once you do, I think if you're a reader, if you love literature and you're a reader of books and novels and whatever, you should love poetry too. You just haven't found the right poet yet, or the right sort of poetry. It doesn't have to be these big hard ones like Shakespeare and Dante Alighieri and Homer and Milton. You know, I love them. They would be mine. But I didn't start off reading them. I started reading. I started off reading more simple poets, getting wee poets. You know, and the anthologies, and then you move on and you move on. You start that opens the floodgates. But it's trying to get the floodgates open. That's the bit. It's trying to get that interest of trying one. So that's. I wanted to do this wee video to try and get it out there. You know, for me, that wee passage says a lot for me. Hopefully, it does for somebody else. You might I might read that out too, and you think, oh, it's a lot of shite. You know, silly. But you can, if you want to pause the video and read it out even yourself, and don't want to hear my voice doing it, go ahead and then try one. You know, just when you're at next time at a bookshop, go to the wee corner poetry. It's usually not that very big, which is quite tragic, but it's usually not that very big. And if you go to it, browse through it, pick up a book, have a wee look through it, and if you see something that piques your interest, say fuck it, I'll try it. What's it? I mean, you've probably spent hundreds of pounds on novels and books sitting on your shelf and you haven't even touched yet. So try one. Go and get Keats if you want, or someone more modern. I don't know, but William Blake even. He's not modern like, but he's an good one. But try and just try them out. I would say anybody that's probably cancel or stop the video by now, going fuck, he's talking about poetry. Get me off. But you know, as I says, I was the same as you. I never went near it. And then once I opened my eyes and the floodgates opened, it's very close to me now. There isn't a few days don't go by without me out reading a poem of some shape or form or a new poem. It's a time to switch off. It's a time to relax, and it speaks to you in a deeper level as well. You know, so yeah, I just wanted to get your video out, and everybody forgets that poetry was the first art form of words. There was storytelling, obviously, with mouth, you know, telling stories over campfires and stuff. But whenever the words, I think, were put onto paper, and it was an art form, it started off with poetry. You know, it's no going anywhere, so you have a lot to read if you want to get into it. So there you go, that's that video done. I'm going to bore you to tears, but I try. All the best.